Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca Frankowski. I teach second grade in New Jersey, and today I'm here to act as a reading specialist to discuss the 5 components of literacy development, strategies to support them, assessment approaches, technology, and the role of a reading specialist in supporting teachers and students. So the first component that we can take a look at is phonemic awareness, which is the ability to hear individual phonemes and words and to manipulate the sounds in oral language. One strategy that can support phonemic awareness is tapping out sounds. A teacher can model and provide repeated practice in this strategy where a child might go like this: cat, k, at, k, at. They are segmenting those sounds, breaking them apart, and stretching it, tapping it to hear the phonemes. Later we have phonics, which is the instruction of letter-sound correspondence or the relationship between sounds and written symbols. One strategy that I really like for phonics is finger spelling. So students with their non-writing hand can be taught to put the sounds that they hear in the words on their fingers one at a time. So let's take the word bunk. B, n, k, bunk. B, n, k, bunk. Another strategy to support this would be drawing out lines for the syllables heard in words. Wonderful, wonderful. Teach the students to draw out 3 spots for the word wonderful, and then attempt to write out each syllable one at a time. Wonderful. I've seen a lot of success with my students practicing this strategy recently, and their writing has really improved. Later, we have the component of vocabulary, which is a crucial component to literacy because it enhances comprehension of text for students. It enables a child to recognize words and assign meaning to them. One strategy that a teacher can use to support vocabulary in class is powerful interactive read-alouds. A teacher can model along while she's reading. Let's say she comes across a word like village. She can model decoding that word, village. I think that word is village. That sounds right. That looks right, and it makes sense. What does it mean? Stretch for the meaning, model stretching for the meaning, and posing that question to yourself as the reader. And you'll find that students practice that strategy more too and build their vocabulary. Later, we have the component of fluency, which is the ability to read a text orally with speed, accuracy, expression, and comprehension. One strategy that I really like for building fluency is echo reading. So a teacher would read a line of a shared text out loud, and then the students would read it back to her. Read the line of the shared text out loud, and the students read it back. One thing that's really fun is inviting a student up there to be the teacher and to take on the role of reading it solo and then hearing the class read it back. They really enjoy that. Later, we have comprehension. Comprehension can be broken down into 3 parts: construction, integration, and metacognition. Construction is the ability to understand the idea behind a sentence and then link one sentence to the next sentence. Integration is when the prior knowledge comes into play to enhance the meaning or the understanding of the text. Metacognition is when ideas check out to the reader or make sense in their minds. And one advanced thing that students begin to do is self-correct. When something doesn't check out or there is a misunderstanding, students might reread and grow that habit, which is really powerful and enhances their reading. One strategy to support comprehension is to teach retelling of the important parts so that students keep up with their longer texts. They can be taught to think of the text like this: somebody wanted, but so then, or first, then, next, finally. These are go-tos in my class, and it's one of the first building blocks for the comprehension strategies that we work on. So those are the 5 components of reading. All of these components help tie in, and strengthen the writing process too. The more language, the more text that students are exposed to, the more powerful their writing will be. We've been in a poetry unit recently, and I've been venturing to write my own poems to then share them to students so that they can kind of be inspired to do that and to know that writing exists all over our classroom, and to kind of just be inspired by what we hear and what we read. So one of the ways that we can support writing is through graphic organizers or sentence frames. When students are writing about reading or stopping and jotting in my class, I often give them a sentence frame. I noticed the character, and then they can fill in the rest as they jot. Or I noticed a pattern when, and then they can continue their own writing in their books. The graphic organizers are really powerful to support writing. We recently just finished opinion writing, where students thought about opinion writing in the form of an Oreo. The opinion, reason, evidence, and a restated opinion. They really enjoyed that graphic organizer. So some assessments that can really support teachers in the classroom are informal reading inventories, because that kind of just gives you a really good knowledge of where the student is at that particular time, their word solving abilities, the accuracy that they have, the fluency that they are working towards or that they represent as they read out loud, and then the comprehension, both literal and inferential. Another assessment that works great in the classroom and is a bit more informal is a turn and talk. So partners can face each other, chat, and exchange ideas about a question that's been posed by the teacher, and the teacher can listen in to check for understanding, to see if the student is having success with the strategy. Assessments are super important because they help us gather data on student strengths and weaknesses, which informs our teaching. It helps us to communicate with stakeholders, and it lets us know if our instructional strategies are working. Also, it lets us know when students are ready to move on to the next book or to be challenged in certain areas of their writing. Maybe, like for instance, the opinion writing, I can ask certain readers to defend their opinions with even more reasons if I see that they're ready based on the assessments. Some of the technology that can kind of just grab readers and writers in the classroom, one resource is Epic Books. It kind of enhances the classroom library tenfold. There are many, many online texts, and many readers are very excited and interested to get on the iPad, get on the Chrome, and tear through books. It also helps because it reads the books out loud to students, and they can hover their cursor over certain words to grow their vocabulary. I love using Epic Books in nonfiction units. Another online resource that can support writers is Storyboard That. It's very fun because it helps students create digital characters. They can insert little dialogue bubbles, and they can kind of design their own setting. So when you're thinking about interesting those unmotivated writers, Storyboard That is a really good option. So overall, a literacy specialist should be very present in the classroom in supporting you in these 5 components of literacy and the strategies that kind of help them flesh out in the classroom and help it strengthen all student skills in the classroom. The specialist needs to be present. The specialist needs to be communicating frequently. The specialist needs to listen to teachers when they express their needs and then kind of support those needs. The specialist needs to help guide PLCs and keep up to date with best practices. Lastly, the specialist needs to offer support to struggling readers and writers and be the teacher and the student advocate. Kind of the glue that holds all of the literacy community together and helps them form powerful connections that make us stronger as communities. Thank you for listening and enjoy your day.